Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا بفضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. Okay, so we had done this, we had discussion. Oh, is Muhammad Kazmi here today? Where's Sheikh Muhammad?
Yeah,
He
I'm here.
is. Okay, so finally we meet. We can now do our thing on the Fatiha, right? You had
Alhamdulillah.
been asking for the class on the Fatiha for a while. Okay, so let's talk about this. The issue of reciting the Fatiha behind the Imam. Okay, where's my whiteboard? Okay, so let's test out my whiteboard skills. Bismillah. So reciting the Fatiha behind the Imam. This works. Okay, so now we have the old school. Imam Shafi's old school. Okay, then we have the new school. Okay, so the old school says Imam reciting aloud, not obligatory. Meaning, the follower does not need to recite the Fatiha aloud if the Imam is reciting aloud. Right? The follower does not have to recite the Fatiha, period, if the Imam is recited aloud. Okay, that's the old school. Now, this has also been ascribed to the new school as well. Right? Also, position in new school. Capital U. Everybody knows it means new school, old school. Nobody remind what that means?
Jadid and Qadim. Yeah.
What does that mean? What does Jadid and Qadim mean?
He had some opinions earlier. After he went to, I think, Egypt, he had changed some of his older opinions.
Okay, so Imam Shafi has, how do I do this? I'm trying to make it bigger. I don't want to make it wider. I just want to stretch it down. It's like it's keeping it in a certain angle. I don't want to do that. There we go. Whoever did that, Jazakumullah khair. Salah, are you able to change things on the board?
Someone just did it, so I think so.
I
That wasn't you.
can keep doing it for you if you need.
Who's that, Muhammad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying. How did you do that? Because I'm trying to expand it. It just expands like it won't
So
expand down.
instead of dragging on the text box, if you just click on it, it'll show the font size options. So I just made
Oh,
it
I
like,
see. You changed the font size. Okay, that's annoying. Okay. Anyhow, that's cool. Done that. Okay, great. Can you change these as well, Muhammad? These can you have these? There's some way you can get it to point down. You know these ones. If you can,
uh, yeah, let me see.
somehow it works, but I don't know. It's like kind of annoying. Like I really like the old. I've been using Zoom for like 20 years. I like the old Zoom. You know, I don't know how. So it's supposed to come down like this and go out like this and come down. Anyway, the
Or you
old, the
just
old, the old, the old whiteboard was way easier to use. Anyhow, so now basically we're gonna have the new school. Okay. So I'll type whoever Muhammad, if you can just put in the arrows, inshallah. Okay. So now we have three positions about reciting behind the Imam. Okay. So here we're talking about basically you have to, the new school says you have to recite behind the imam. Okay, that's the correct position in the school, right? So must recite imam in every rak'ah, even if imam reciting aloud. Okay, that's the Shafi school, okay? That's the correct. So if it's the Jadid, it's the Jadid, like Imam Shafi rejected his own opinion, or at least maybe he has two opinions in his Jadid, but this is the correct position, the other one's incorrect. So now the question is, what are the conditions of? Okay, one position says, as long as he does not bow, as long as Imam does not bow, right? So basically that means you have to recite, not recite. You have to recite behind the Imam. But if he goes into ruku', khalas, you're now excused. How do we know that? Because we know that we all agree that if you caught the Imam, you joined the prayer in ruku', you don't have to do the Fatiha. Right? We all agree on that. We basically all agree on that. But basically, so we agree that you come to the prayer, the Imam's in ruku'. So therefore, the fact that the Imam's in ruku' and you just joined him in that, and you skip the Fatiha, that means that if the Imam bows, khalas, you're excused. So whenever the Imam bows, you just bow with him, and that's it. That's one position. The other position is even if the Imam bows. So unconditionally, even if the Imam bows. So Imam goes into ruku', it doesn't matter. As long as you caught him in the standing position for any amount of time, you caught him before he went to ruku', khalas, you have to do the whole Fatiha. End of story. Right? You have to do the whole thing. Okay, that's position number 2. Position number 3 is depends. Okay, and this is the relied upon position. So this position is, right, this position, can you put the arrows in, Muhammad? For the 1, 2, 3, just coming down from this point here.
Yeah.
So it depends. Depends on what? So we're going to say, look, when you say, so here what we're talking about is, we're going to say it depends. Did you stand behind the Imam in that rak'ah for long enough time to recite the Fatiha at a normal pace or not? So that's the shart of wujub. The shart of wujub is Allah had you stand behind the Imam in that rak'ah, okay, for long enough time to recite the Fatiha at a normal pace. Given that he did, you are not obliged to do that. So if he gives you, let's say, for example, so now we're going to divide this person into 3 categories, okay? So now this is now 4 categories, okay? But here, when you say it depends, meaning stood behind Imam in that rak'ah for long enough to recite Fatiha at normal pace. Let's call it 35 seconds, okay? Just an approximation, right? Can you shrink that or whatever? No, nothing like that. So now we're going to break this. This person is now going to be into one of 4 scenarios, okay? So this is the relied upon position. This is a weak position, which says, even if the Imam bows, just keep doing the Fatiha. And the other position says, no, if he bows, just go into ruku'. So why am I mentioning these things? Because often people don't know this stuff, and it's kind of complex. And it's like, Habibi, chill out. Number 1, there's other positions in the other madhahib. Number 2, in the Shafi school, there's different positions, right? So it doesn't matter too much. So now you're going to be in one of 2 scenarios. You're either going to be behind, I'm going to say late. You're a latecomer. Okay, I'm going to put it in speech marks. Or not a latecomer. Yeah, I'm going to put the Arabic here. Muwafiq. He's called, in Arabic, it's called muwafiq. Where'd the other one go?
I put latecomer next to it. Can you see it?
Oh, you're over here. Sorry, I couldn't see it. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's put it over here a little bit. Okay. And this is called masbuq. So here's the problem, guys. Okay. In the fiqh books, they're going to speak about somebody who came late to the prayer. It is not necessarily they came late to the prayer. Because notice the definition. He stood behind the imam in that rak'ah. So in each rak'ah, you might be a muwafiq or masbuq. Or masbuq, muwafiq. You might, so muwafiq means linguistic the person who joined with the imam, but you didn't perhaps join with the imam. So you could start with the imam and be a masbuq in every single rak'ah. And it could change from rak'ah to rak'ah. So the issue is in this rak'ah, I've stood behind the imam for how long? 35 seconds approximately or more or less than that. So now each of these things is two categories. Okay? I'm still in Arabic in here. Now, the latecomer, he is normal or he's excused. Okay? So what does normal mean? Normal means I'm in this rak'ah, I have stood behind the imam for long enough time to recite the Fatiha at a normal pace, and I've recited the Fatiha at a normal pace. I'm just going to bow when he bows and khalas. Okay? So, with the normal, what's going to happen with him is miss rak'ah. Whoops. Oh, I'm going to extend, can you make a little bit of water? Here we go. Miss rak'ah if not catch imam in bowing. Okay? Prayer invalid if behind imam by 2 complete integrals. Okay, so now here's this normal scenario. You've come to the prayer. You had a minute to recite the Fatiha. You recited the Fatiha. The imam goes into ruku' and you're doing Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, why are you doing Surah Al-Baqarah? I don't know. He's in ruku'. If he comes out of ruku', you have missed that rak'ah. So you're going to have to make up that rak'ah at the end. Now you're now on the second, third page of Baqarah. He's gone into ruku' and he's come out of ruku'. Okay? Now he starts leaning forward and he gets to a stage when he's no longer in the standing position. What is that position then? Who can remember the diagram? He's leaning forward such that he's no longer in the standing position. What is that?
No man's
What
land.
position was that? What was it?
No man's land.
No man's land. What did it explain for the ignorant?
55 degrees.
Okay, but without a degree.
From
So we had standing. So we had like you were closer to ruku' than what is it? You're leaning far enough so you could touch some of your hand could touch some of your knee, or some of your palm could touch your knee. That was called ruku'. And then there was closer to standing than minimum ruku'. And now that's that gap in between. Right? Salah is calling no man's land, right? Call it no man's land, which was you are not closer to standing up than minimum ruku', nor are you in ruku'. So as long as you're not closer to standing than minimum ruku', you are now no longer standing. So this imam has gone, he's finished his Fatiha, went into ruku'. So khalas, he's finished the Fatiha ahead of you. Now he's straightened up. Okay, he's gone to ruku', he's finished his ruku' ahead of you. Now he's up, he's standing. He leans forward. As soon as he leaves the area called standing, and he is now closer to ruku' than standing, your prayer is broken. You're not praying anymore because you've lagged behind the imam by 2 complete integrals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I put a table in the chat that I took from another fit class. I don't know if that's useful.
Okay, we will use it to review, inshallah. Okay. Okay, so now excused. You have a back problem. You forgot to do the Fatiha. you are slow. You were busy doing adhkar. Okay? So in this scenario, for the Imam says Allahu Akbar. You're standing, he says Allahu Akbar. He goes into ruku', and it takes you about 15 seconds to get into ruku'. By the time you're getting into ruku', he's already out and standing. By the time you're now into ruku', he's now going to sujood. So now you're getting up, it takes another 15 seconds for you to stand up. He's now coming out. And so if this person, okay, of this person who's excused, okay, I'm going to put here, I'm going to put these things here. Right? Pregnant, same thing, you're slow, right? Whatever it is. Okay. So this person is going to, what are the two things that apply to him? Okay. So we'll miss rak'ah if not catch the Imam bowing. Will not, right? Will not. Okay. Doesn't apply to him. Okay. So what's going to happen then? This person will lag behind. So you have a back problem. You forgot to recite. Habibi, you have to recite because you are obliged to recite. So the Imam says Allahu Akbar, goes into ruku', like, oh man, I didn't do the Fatiha. Okay, do the Fatiha. Okay, so you don't have to catch the Imam in ruku'. Okay. Because you are here. I need to move this over here, not latecomer. I'm going to put this here actually. Whoops, that messes everything up. I just want this text here.
It'll move the arrows. I can remove these
Yeah,
arrows.
you
You can
put
move
the
it
text,
where?
put it under not latecomer because that's actually confusing. That depends. The arrows are coming from depends, and you know this should be under not latecomer.
Okay,
Okay.
let me I'll remove the arrows and you can move it wherever you want, and then I'll
Okay.
change them.
There we go. This goes here. When you say not latecomer, this is what we mean. Okay, I'm going to put it in brackets. Okay, so now prayer will be invalid if behind the Imam by two long integrals. What does that mean? That means, sorry, by three more than. So you're standing doing the Fatiha because you forgot. The Imam goes into ruku' and comes out. The Imam goes into sujood and comes out. You're still doing the Fatiha. The Imam goes into sujood again and comes out. If he finishes ruku' and sujood before you are starting to catch up with him, your prayer is broken. So you have a back problem. You're not even in ruku' yet, and he's already finishing sujood. You're pregnant, and you're like, okay, 1 second, I'm about to go into ruku'. This is hard. Okay, leaning forward. It took you 15 seconds to get into ruku'. Before you even got into ruku', he was already out of his second sujood. Okay? But you forgot to do the Fatiha. You were reciting the Fatiha as well, right? Super slow in, okay? So you uh, uh, so you haven't the Fatiha because you forgot. You thought the Imam would give
And Sheikh, we are
Sheikh,
broken out.
the audio
I think you're cutting out.
car. You did, for example, catching up was coming away.
Sheikh, I think you're cutting out a lot.
You're joking. That's it. I'm leaving this class. Salah, you're the witness. Okay, he has an excuse. Can everyone hear me?
We hear you now, yeah.
Inshallah, the whiteboard is saved.
It did say,
Assalamu alaikum. I don't know why it dropped. Why it's dropping. Existing whiteboard. Ya Rab, inshallah exists. Ship of
It's saved in
salvation.
the chat, but you have to.
Fingers crossed. I got it here now. I'll be that we don't do fingers crossed. Okay, we saved. Alhamdulillah. Muhammad Kazim, you haven't had a breakdown yet?
No, sir.
Okay, alhamdulillah, that's good. You should go and join Salah's work. He's gonna quit soon. You shouldn't be Salah, people like you shouldn't be armed, Who knows what's gonna happen?
SubhanAllah.
Yeah, may Allah protect us, man.
I mean,
I remember when I got my man's toy, whatever it is, big boys' toys, whatever. And it was like, yeah, you turn up and like, so I have my permit and I can't get it now. Like, no, I don't get it. It's like, you gotta wait 10 days. Why? Right? That's how it is in California. I don't know how it is in Nashville, but it's like why? It's like, yeah, because some guy, people get spawned up, people do stupid things, may Allah protect us. So
I bought a gun on impulse. I just went and bought it instant.
really?
Yeah, there's no process. You just go pick it up.
It was my son's birthday yesterday. Well, not really his birthday, but we had he's 10 yesterday. So I said, Abdulrazak, what's your favorite thing? He said, he's like, in Malaysia, you can't talk about things like this because it's like super, super illegal. So he's like, the first trip we went on? I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. He's like, he was 8, I think. Yeah, my oldest son, he did let's pause this. Wait. Don't shoot the imam if he goes to ruku too quickly. Yeah. Prayer is invalid if behind the imam by more than 3 integrals. So basically, any excuse here, you have to do the Fatiha. This is the point. You have stood behind the imam for long enough time to recite the Fatiha. The Fatiha has rested fully in your responsibility, and you're excused because you have back problems, because you're pregnant, because you didn't hear him saying Allahu Akbar, because you forgot to do the Fatiha, because you were slow in reciting, because you were busy with other adhkar, you have some kind of excuse, right? So if you're excused, khalas, just catch the imam, be catching up with the imam before he comes out of his second sujood, that's all. Okay, and so what if you can't do that? That means, Habibi, you can't pray in Jama'ah. Like your dad, may Allah protect him, it takes him 1 minute to get into ruku', khalas. By the time he's in ruku', the imam's already out of sujood. So khalas, he can't pray Jama'ah, that's all. Inshallah, he'll pray with you. May Allah make it easy for all of us. Okay, so that's the excuse, okay? Everyone's following so far?
Yeah.
Does waswas or like a stutter, stuff like this count as well for
Yes, it does.
excuse?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. Okay, so now, why can't it move? Somebody, I can move this. Oh, I can move here. Here we go. So that's 2 scenarios, right? So look at the big picture here. Over here, you don't have to recite behind the imam in Fajr, Maghrib, Isha, Aslan. Okay, then we have over here, look, just bow when he bows. Just always recite the whole Fatiha. And then here, this is the relied upon position, whereas the nuance thing, right? Because there's somebody telling us that you have to follow the imam, at the same time you have to do the Fatiha. We say, look, we're going to try and put the 2 things together. So we're going to say, did you stand behind the imam for long enough time to recite the Fatiha at a normal pace in that rak'ah? Yes, sir. Okay. So if you don't have an excuse, you've got to catch the imam in ruku'. If you don't do it, you miss a prayer. And if you don't have an excuse, you can't lag behind the imam by 2 integrals. If you do have an excuse, you don't have to catch the imam in ruku'. It's fine. Just do the Fatiha. And as long as you are catching up with him before he comes out of sujood, you're fine. Okay. Now, latecomer. Latecomer doesn't mean latecomer, right? It means you have not stood behind the imam for long enough time to recite the Fatiha at a normal pace in that rak'ah. So you may be a latecomer in the first rak'ah, and then not in the second rak'ah, and then in the third and the fourth. How could you be a latecomer in the third and the fourth, even though you joined the prayer earlier?
You take too long to leave the previous step of salah, such that if you were to miss the second integral, you
Okay,
miss
how
your salah.
else? Imagine I stand up, I come out of the first tashahhud with the imam, and then in this rak'ah, I am considered a masbuq. I'm considered a latecomer. How?
He finishes his Fatiha in like 10 seconds.
Thank you very much, right? Welcome to the Desi world. Yemenis too. Okay. So I remember praying behind this sheikh I used to work with. It's like, dude, you do the Fatiha in like 3 seconds, right? I know every single time I pray behind this person, I'm masbook, right? And so here's a scenario. You could be the wali of Allah and have never recited the Fatiha in your life and have never made wudu in your life. How?
You're totally excused from wudu and you're just never catching the Fatiha.
So what was with wudu?
You're excused from making wudu due to like some skin condition or even
You should
tayyam.
be
Like,
more positive. You should be more positive, Salah. Be more positive. You just made ghusl 5 times a day, mashallah.
listen, okay.
Okay, Mubarak. Okay. So he just made he, he just made ghusl. If you make ghusl, that counts as wudu, right? So you're making a fard ghusl, it counts as wudu. And then every single rak'ah you prayed in the masjid, you were always masbook because the Imam always did his Fatiha and his Al-Imran, mashallah, and Surah An-Nisa and Baqarah in 3 seconds, right? It's like subhanallah, right? Some people recite unbelievably fast, right? Yemenis the same thing. You pray with Yemenis, like, whoa, it's fast. So anyway, so latecomer. So there's a key concept. Have I stood behind the Imam for long enough time to recite the Fatiha at a normal pace? Yes or no? That's the key concept. So am I in category A? Whoops. Am I here? And am I excused or not excused? Oh, I'm excused. Okay, Habibi. Cool, calm, collected. Finish the Fatiha at a normal pace. Then we're now over here. Okay, your latecomer. The latecomer. Okay, we're going to copy and paste. Where is this? Okay. There we go. Are you? So normal. How do I say this? Hello? I can't get into the text. There we go. Okay. So normal. Done something wrong is called. Okay. So normal, this person is miss rak'ah if not catch the imam in bowing, correct? Okay. So what does this person have to do? This person must recite as much Fatiha that could be recited at normal pace given the time allotted to him. Okay, so scenario, he comes in, Allahu Akbar. He stands behind the Imam for 10 seconds. The Imam says, Allahu Akbar. So you had 10 seconds, Habibi, right? Yes. If you don't bow with the Imam, you will miss the rak'ah. Okay? And your prayer will be broken if you lag behind the Imam to complete intervals. Okay? So it's very simple. This person just bows when the Imam bows, right? You just said Allahu Akbar, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Allahu Akbar. Oh man, he went to ruku', Allahu Akbar, followed him ruku'. You have no reason to have any issue. So you just again cool, calm, collected, recite slowly. There's no need to be in a rush. You don't need to rush. The only person in this whole scenario that needs to rush is this person. Because you've done something wrong, Habibi. Okay? You've done something wrong. So this has nothing wrong, meaning did not use time allotted to him to recite the Fatiha. Okay, so Zia, shall I answer your question right at the end? Because you're going to have to kind of put everything together, okay? So you came seconds. I didn't have enough time to recite the whole Fatiha. And on top of that, I
I
didn't
think
use
you
the
cut off
time.
for that part. Can you repeat? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why my internet's cutting off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I just heard seconds. So I don't know what you just said before that.
Yeah, but I'm like right next to the modem. I don't know what's going on. I don't have like full. It's like really weird. Anyway, so I've stood behind the Imam. So I joined the prayer. Allahu Akbar. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك وجهت وجهي للذي, and then he says Allahu Akbar and starts going to ruku'. So I've stood behind the Imam for like 10 seconds. He gave me 10 seconds to recite the Fatiha. I was not obliged to do the whole of the Fatiha, but I was obliged to do 10 seconds worth of the Fatiha. The problem is I didn't use that time. Okay? I didn't use that time. So now I'm in a mess. So I have to do 10 seconds worth of Fatiha. Meaning, how much of the Fatiha could you recite at a normal pace in 10 seconds? Okay, let's example 3 ayahs. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, for example. And I have to do that before the Imam comes out of ruku'. Because if I don't do it before he comes out of ruku', I'll have missed the prayer. And I have to do that before the Imam leaves the standing position, because if he leaves the standing position before before I'm in ruku', then my prayer will be broken. Okay? So now, the longer that I waste, the more time I wasted, the more problematic this will be. So imagine, for example, I did the following. Allahu Akbar wajjahtu وجهي للذي فطر السماوات والأرض حنيفا مسلما وما كان من المشركين إن صلاتي ونسكي ومحياي ومماتي لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وبذلك أمرت وأنا من المسلمين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك اللهم باعد بيني وبين خطاياي كما باعدت بين المشرق والمغرب اللهم اغسلني. I can't remember the whole thing. Anyway, he goes on. He does 3 of the opening. There's like 5 or 6 different opening du'as you can do in the prayer. You did 7 of them, mashallah, right? You did the al-istiftah al-salahi, your own one that Salahuddin invented. Fantastic. So you spent a whole minute, Habibi. Okay, no, a whole minute's not good, but you spent, for example, 20 seconds doing this long du'a. Okay, now you are not in this scenario because you did not stand behind the Imam for a long enough time to do the whole Fatiha. So you are not here. This person is excused because they have to do the whole Fatiha, and then they can now lag behind for the 3 Imam, 3 things. So you're not in that situation. So you're in the situation where it's a very tricky situation where you have to rush through as much of the Fatiha as you could have recited in order to catch the Imam ruku', and if not, in order to catch the Imam before he moves from the standing position. So now you're in a situation where, let's say you have to do 20 seconds of Fatiha, he goes into ruku' really fast, he comes out really fast, and the Imam is about to lean forward and your prayer is about to be broken. If you lean forward and go into ruku' before you have done the amount of Fatiha you could have done, your prayer will be broken. If he leans forward and leaves the standing position, your prayer will be broken. Okay? It's like when Salah got involved with the mafia, right? It's like, if you do this, we'll shoot you, and if you do that, we'll shoot you. It's like, okay, great. Okay? So you're in a predicament. You're in a predicament. Okay, that's why the guy's so armed. Okay, you're in a predicament. So number one, you shouldn't be in that situation because you've quote unquote done something wrong. You should not be in this situation. So what do you do in this situation? A, you race through the Fatiha that you can do, and you catch the Imam in ruku'. You've caught the rak'ah, or you catch the Imam. Well, you're going into ruku' before he's leaving the standing position, in which case your prayer won't be broken at least. But if your prayer is about to be broken, meaning if you leant forward, you wouldn't have done the Fatiha that you were supposed to, the amount of the Fatiha that you're supposed to do. And if he leans far enough, he'll break your prayer. Then what you can just do is you just throw in the towel. And you say, you know what? Let's just imagine I join the prayer now. Okay, in which case there's no Fatiha that's obligatory upon me, and there is no ruku'. Let's just imagine I'm joining the prayer now and just say, khalas, just merge your prayer with his, assume that you join the prayer now. Okay, you're not doing a new takbir, but you're just acting like that. And then you just merge with him and that rak'ah. Does that make sense? Or you can say, no, just do mufaraqah, just start praying by yourself. Okay? So, if his prayer is about to be invalidated because he has too much of the Fatiha to recite, okay, and he can't catch up, and the Imam is about to lean forward or is about to get from leaving that situation, then he has two options. Then separate from the Imam, which you can do in the prayer. Just pray by himself. Or two, merge with Imam's prayer. Okay? Make sense, guys?
And the merge part
Okay.
one more time.
So merge, meaning you just basically say, look, forget the Fatiha, forget Ruku, I'll just imagine my
Forgive me,
You're
I think you
cut
cut
off.
off again.
Yeah, you're cut off.
and this rak'ah won't count.
Sheikh, you are cut off. Can you just repeat that?
So he asked, so Salah asked, can you repeat the merge section? I don't know why my thing's cutting off.
Yeah, try now.
What is it?
You're audible
What to
now.
do? So anyway, you can either basically at this point where you know it's not possible. I have another, for example, ayah to do. I'm not going to do it. He's leaning forward now. So if I don't go straight into ruku', if I go straight into ruku', my prayer will be broken because I left the amount of the Fatiha that I had to do. And if he leans further forward, he will not be in the standing position, and my prayer will be broken because I'm too far behind him. So you now have two options: separate from the Imam and continue by yourself, or merge into his prayer, meaning you cancel the Fatiha and you cancel the ruku and you just follow him. So now you're going to follow him into sujood, and this first rak'ah will not count. Does that make sense, Salah?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me just go through. I know people are texting, as you say. And this leaning forward after the Imam has completed ruku'. So the Imam goes into ruku', you're still standing. He comes out of ruku', you're still standing. He leans forward such that he's no longer in the standing position as we described before. As soon as he's out of the standing position, your prayer is broken. Unless you are now into ruku'. He's leaning forward while you're going into ruku', fine. You are now, he's not two integrals ahead of you. Does that make sense? Okay, so Zia was asking a question before. Where was Zia? I was asking a question. If you're joining late, do you just start with the Fatiha or do you read the Wajjah to Wajhi? Okay, so let's look here. Let's look at the big picture again. Hello. So I'm joining late. Okay, according to this position, it doesn't matter. You're joining late, you're just going to bow when he bows anyway. Right? It doesn't matter what you do. According to this position, you can do whatever you want, and you're going to have to do the Fatiha regardless. Doesn't matter what's happening. According to this position, which is the relied upon position, this is the fatwa, is have you stood behind the Imam to recite the Fatiha at a normal pace or not? Yes. In which case, even if you did the opening dua, even if you said A'udhu billahi shaitanir rajeem, you're just gonna complete your Fatiha, right? But let's say subhanallah. So, like for example, it's the first rak'ah of Maghrib. The Imam usually takes 2 minutes to do 2 to 3 minutes to do the Fatiha and a surah. He did the Fatiha and went straight into ruku'. Right? He went straight into ruku'. What happened? Didn't do a surah. So you say, did you stand behind the Imam for long enough time to recite the Fatiha? Are you here? Or are you here? That's what you have to figure out. So maybe he stood there and did the Fatiha in a very short time and he went straight into ruku'. So he said Allahu Akbar. From Allahu Akbar to ruku' was 10 seconds, 15 seconds, in which case you are here. right? And you are not here. But if you did an opening dua and the Fatiha at a normal pace, then you are here. And the fact that he didn't give you now time to do the Fatiha doesn't matter because you tell us you just keep reciting anyway. Just recite slowly to yourself and bow when he bows and catch the Imam at some point. So this scenario you should never be in. Like if you're in the normal situation, you became late and you've done the Fatiha, then what's wrong? Just follow him. Here is a tricky situation which you shouldn't be in. So if you don't know how people pray, or you know how people pray and they pray quickly, then answering Ziyad's question, yes, you should just jump straight into Fatiha. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman. Allahu Akbar. That's it. So you know that the person is always fast, or in this country they pray always fast, or you don't know and you want to be careful, then just make sure you're in this situation. Okay? Does that make sense? Ziyad, does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, and guess what? Do you think this is debated as well? So there's a position that this category doesn't exist anyway. Doesn't even exist. So, in which case, like, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, how is it wrong? Didn't Allah tell me to pray as the Prophet prayed? Didn't Allah tell me to join the prayer and say, A'udhu billahi shaitanir rajeem, wa idha Qur'ana fasta'id bil. So there's a debate here. Is it wrong in that you didn't use the time that you had for the Fatiha, or is it not wrong? It's a debate there, right? The relied upon position is it is quote unquote wrong, right? You've done something wrong, so in which case that's why you have to kind of make it up. Okay, but anyway, so looking to the past, do you think everybody has to repeat all their prayers? No. In the past, so the only prayers, according to the Shafi school, that would have to be repeated is Dhuhr and Asr when you prayed as a Hanafi. So as a Shafi, for example, as a Hanafi, you didn't used to recite behind the Imam in Dhuhr and Asr. So then you come and ask a Shafi and you say, yeah, the Prophet ﷺ has told us there's no prayer for somebody who does not recite the Fatiha. And that's it. Unless your prayer doesn't count, end of story. In the Shafi school, right? But hey, I didn't used to recite behind the Imam when you recited aloud. That's a position in the school anyway, right? I used to always do I used to just bow when he bowed. I don't know, just do what everybody else did. Or it's awkward. Where I live is awkward if I don't bow when he bows. It's like, okay. I used to always do the Fatiha. My dad told me to do the Fatiha behind the Imam, so I always used to do the Fatiha. Yeah, don't worry about it. Here in Malaysia, they all do this. You see them. They'll join and they like just bow like way later, even though they're here, they just do this because they don't know the fiqh, right? So they just all do the Fatiha all the time, and they do the Fatiha loud as well. It's like, oh my God, my wife's Hanafi. She's like praying in the masjid, like, oh my God, these ladies like reciting Fatiha aloud behind the Imam because they think loud is loud. There's loud and loud. Alhamdulillah. So the key concept, guys, the Deen is not here to strangle you. Like basically, we're trying to put. There's a command to follow the Imam, and there's a command to do the Fatiha. We put these two things together and say, just try to put it together. That's all. How do we put that together? We put it together and we get these complex scenarios from it. That's all. That's all that happens. But hey, maybe you do have to do the Fatiha regardless. Maybe you should always just follow the Imam regardless. Maybe as well you shouldn't be reciting behind the Imam. I don't know. So there's scope, guys. Okay. So this is what we should learn and teach and follow. Okay. But don't commit suicide if you didn't get it right. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I shouldn't joke about stuff like that. Astaghfirullah. Suicide is not a joke. Anyway, don't panic. Basically, don't panic if you've done things wrong in the past. Okay. There was a time, believe it or not, when I was a young, ignorant person like you guys. And I'm joking, stuff like that. Go ahead, Mohammed Kazmi.
If for example, if you go to a masjid where you know that this Imam is a fast reciter,
yeah,
should you also speed up your recitation to be like, okay,
just focus on being cool, calm, collected. Here's a big problem, Mohammed Kazmi, is where you got caught up in the fiqh details and you forgot the whole point of the prayer.
Honestly, yeah, because
you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you're not focused. So you should never be in this. That's why you should always cool, calm, collected. You walk to the prayer, cool, calm, collected. You should never be rushing. There's one time. Where's is Musa here?
Yeah,
Musa.
of course it can.
Oh, Musa's here.
So,
There's one time you should run to the prayer, Musa. When is that? You should be sprinting.
the one time you're sprinting to the prayer,
Yes. Is Jum'ah when you're about to miss the second rak'ah.
oh, yes.
That's the one scenario. Otherwise, there's no scenario you should ever be running. You should not be doing that. You get in the car. Let's get in the car now. Where are your shoes? Run, run, run. Oh, I hit somebody. It's okay for the sake of the prayer. Like you just killed somebody or you almost killed somebody. Why are you shouting at your kids? Why'd you have an argument with your wife? Cool, because when you're walking, when you get up to pray, you are already walking to pray. Cool, calm, collected. You're walking to the car doesn't start. Try it again. Try it again. You're already in prayer mode. You're driving to the masjid, prayer mode. Cool, calm, fine. Where should you put your shoes? There's no right. Cool, calm, collected. You're already in prayer mode. So there's no time. You are basically warming up with the sunnah prayers. You're warming up with the mode. Just talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no time we should be freaking out and be like this technical thing and that technical thing. Make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just had one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
Are we allowed to take position 1 that like as long as he bows, you bow with him? Because like where I live, like it's like you mentioned that like if you don't do that, people kind of like they'll kind of look at you funny.
You could do that, but you can't. So this is what's called. So there's a principle in the madhab. You can follow any position that's not super weak. Okay, you can follow any position that's in terms you can follow it. You can't give fatwa in it though. So when you're teaching and in fatwa, someone's asking, "Hey, is my prayer valid in the Shafi school?" Right? By default, you're asking me on the relied upon position, right?
Yeah.
So and I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's halal." I'm like, "Bro, you misrepresented the school. You can't do that." Or you're King, Kesmi the Eighth, and you appoint me as judge, and you're saying, Fareed, judge by the Shafi school. I have to follow that Shafi school as it is. I can't just follow some fringe opinion, right? But in terms of haqq al-nafs, fi haqq al-nafs, as an individual, yeah, it's a valid position. Why not, right? Particularly if it agrees with another madhab, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
But there are positions. For example, there's a position that's narrated from Imam Shafi'i that you never have to recite behind the Imam. So that's considered a qawl shadh. You can't follow that. You can't say, "Oh, as a Shafi'i, I follow this random position that Imam Shafi'i apparently said you never have to recite behind the Imam." That's it. So if the position is weak, meaning that's impossible, he said that, it's a clear mistake. Everybody said it was wrong. You can't follow positions like that. But when there's certain positions that are strong, like here, as far as I remember, the debate here, Musa, is this is asah al-aqwal al-thalath. So this is khilaf al-asah, and this is khilaf al-asah. I mean, it's a strong position. This is al-qadim. That's different. Like a Bayhaqi, he says this is wrong. This is a wrong position. And this is a, qawl in the qadim. In his Qadi Hussein quotes this as Jadid as well. You can't, in principle, follow this position really as a Shafi school because it's kind of super weak. It's either very weak as a new school or it's the Qadim. And whether you can follow the Qadim or not, that's a kind of debate. Maybe, maybe not. So really, if you want to follow this position, follow the Hanbalis, or something like that, or the Maliki or something. But definitely when we get here, this is all strong, right? This is all strong here. Allahu A'lam. Okay, I need to run because there's a Q&A. So Ziad, could you ask that question in the Q&A?
Right. I've got a couple of questions about Qanut. If I'm reading, so I'm saying Fajr in a Jama'ah, and I stand up in the second rakah, so I raise my hands and read Qanut. I believe that's
So are you talking about in a Hanafi masjid?
Yes.
Yeah, just drop it. Just drop it.
Sorry?
Yeah. Just don't do it. Don't raise your hands.
Don't raise that. Okay, so just
never do it. So
okay.
like the Hanafis, they'll do the qunut of Nazila, they'll do the qunut sometimes as well in Fajr. But you just don't do it, it's okay.
And if I forget to say the qunut, should I say it after the rood, or should I just omit it
Just
altogether?
drop it totally.
Drop it totally.
So you can't do qada of it. Number one, you can't make it up in the rest of the prayer. And number two, in a Hanafi masjid, everyone's watching you. Like, why are you raising your hands? What are you doing? Why are you making dua of the prayer? Yeah, yeah. One Hanafi, he told me, he said he left the prayer when somebody did that. He thought the Imam had stopped praying. He's like, why is the Imam suddenly stopping the prayer and starting to make dua? You know? So you don't need to confuse people. It's fine. At home, do it, and just don't do it. Don't do it in the masjid.
The other thing, two things.
We Shafi'is, Zia, we live in fear, a state of fear.
So,
We're like, consider yourself, you're like, somebody hiding. You're like, who is it? Who was the guy who leads the rebellion in Terminator? What's his name? John something.
John Hammond.
Yeah. So you're him. You're basically living in hiding, right? So like whenever like, and basically imagine that, like, it's like, what's that scene when, like, when he tells you your step parents are what's it called? Your foster parents are dead. That's it. That's the scenario. Khalas. Inshallah, one day we will what's it called? we'll make the whole of Pakistan Shafi'i, inshallah. Zindabad, was it Zindabad Mazhab Shafi'i, inshallah, right?
Inshallah.
With
sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So when you're sitting for tahiyat, and do you keep your right hand folded as a fist, or you keep it straight? And then when you raise the finger for tashahhud, you keep it raised till the end or till salam?
Yes, you keep it to the end of salams, yes. Yeah. So again, here you can judge. Some people will notice and make a big problem. Some people will not notice. It depends how hardcore So key thing is, when you're going to cause a fitna, and you're going to follow something else that is also a legitimate sound thing, then it's okay. Like they're going to make a big fuss. But like raising your finger and keeping it raised, are they going to make a big fuss? I don't know. But like, for example, do you put your hands up like that? What are you doing? You're going to distract people, and they're going to say, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Right? So, you got to choose your places. Like California is different. California is a mix. You can do whatever you want in many places, right? And in some places, maybe like in a university, around young people, a university maybe in Pakistan, but you're in some village, you confuse people.
But if people are not objecting, I can raise my hands and pray.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. People don't object to whatever you want.
So for the salam, do you turn your head with the imam, or do you wait till he's done both and then you do those salams?
Yeah, you wait till he's done complete salams. He says assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, and then you do assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum.
Because everybody else does it with the imam.
So again, as long as you give salams after his first salams, you're fine. So as long as you're giving your first salams after he gives his first salams, it's fine. So he says assalamu alaikum. As soon as he says assalamu alaikum, you can now say assalamu alaikum, right? But you can't say, if you said assalamu alaikum before he says assalamu alaikum, then your prayer will be broken because you finished the prayer before him.
Because the rest of the Jamaat, they do it simultaneously with the imam.
So the second salam, the second one, so they're going to say, he says assalamu alaikum, and they do it at the same time as him, right? And then they do the second one at the same time. So if it's roughly like, as long as you don't say assalamu alaikum before his first assalamu alaikum, you're fine. And then you can kind of do your second one with them. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Inshallah, we're going to do a GoFundMe thing. Yeah. I'm a Shafi'i. I feel emotionally traumatized, and I need to retire early, and I need my own masjid, so that I feel like I have some like religious freedom and things, Inshallah. Muhyiddin's gonna give $2 at least. Okay. So now, alaikum everybody.